All right, guys, I just wanted to film a quick little maintenance video for you on a Cub Cadet zero-turn lawnmower. Just figured I'd, put my 2 cents in and show you what I do for annual spring maintenance. So, starting off with the oil change first off, and where you start is you're gonna want to, there's this tube, I don't know if you can see it, there it is, on the left side, driver's side of the mower that's hanging down, and that is your oil drain plug. So that's where all your oil is gonna drain out. And from what I've seen, everybody on forums and comments and stuff really struggled to get that off because for some reason from the factory, they use this red Loctite on the plug. Plus, it's a square nut. So it's really hard to get off in general. Then they put the Loctite on and it's really difficult, I guess. And that's what everybody who's in the comments was saying, and I experienced it myself. Originally, I tried to just use 2 adjustables. That didn't work. The adjustables weren't strong enough. I needed a solid wrench. You can't get a socket on there unless you have a square socket, which unfortunately I don't. I tried the 6-point because I wanted to just use an impact to try to get it off, but it just started to strip, so threw that idea out the window, obviously. So I just got so for you have to use two wrenches. So this is the permanent, I guess nut or whatever you want to call it, on the hose. So you have to hold that tight and at the same time take off the drain plug nut. So I got that off with a 3/4 inch wrench. I put it on there, and then I used an adjustable because I didn't have the right size on hand, and I was able to get it off. Just kind of one of these maneuvers to where you're prying opposite ends. And that's how I was able to get it off. Not too bad. I also, a little tip, this is let's see if I can adjust it here. This is the drain hose right here that leads to that nut previously. Little tip, I guess, would be to pull the hose out of the hole, because then it sits out right here. I'm not going to pull it out because it's draining right now, but so then it's a much easier spot to work. You're working in more of an open area, not under the mower, where it's a little bit even harder to get to. All right, then once all the oil is draining out the plug, you're gonna go and unscrew the oil filter on the passenger side and let all that oil drain out. So, if I get a shot. Fortunately, per the engineers, it's in a bad spot, so it's not gonna drain very well. So it's gonna be messy. So just let that drain, and you're gonna have to clean up all that extra oil and put your new one on. So once that's off and you clean up all your oil, then you're gonna put the filter back on and make sure, put the drain plug on first, obviously. I don't know if you can see, but I scraped off all that red Loctite as best I could so I don't have to have this mess in the future. And if somehow if I see a little bit of oil leakage or whatever, I'll tighten it, or for now, I'm just gonna tighten that back up real good. That's good. And real quick, in case you're wondering, I got this nice Kohler maintenance kit all in one. So it has the filter, oil, fuel filter, and air filter all in one, and 2 new spark plugs. So that's what we're gonna be doing today also. And it's just nice because it's all Kohler brand, and it's all in one convenient package. So that's what I did for this. And this is a Kohler 7000 series. If you could see that, 24 horsepower. So that's what I'm working with for my Cub Cadet. And obviously you're gonna wanna make sure you pour a little oil into your filter first. Don't fill it all the way up because it is on an angle, so you'll spill it all, but at least pour a little bit in there. It's already spilling, turn it around there. Ah. Definitely not the best design by Cub Cadet engineers. You need to have the oil filter up so you can just put it on, but I know it's a lawnmower or whatever. But so once that's tightened up, you double check that, double check your oil, drain plug, and then we'll be adding some oil to it. All right, so once you got everything all tightened up, go ahead and pull your dipstick, which is that hole right there. I already pulled it. It's this big yellow thing. And you're gonna start adding oil. Again, I'm using Kohler brand 10W30 synthetic blend. Now it calls for 2 quarts of oil. I'm gonna probably put about 1.5 quarts, and then just start checking it from there, so. Make sure no leaks are coming out anywhere. All right, that's about 1.5 quarts. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a quick check just to see where we're at. So we're showing low, so I'm gonna keep going. Showing pretty good. I don't have a lot left, so I'm probably just gonna finish this off real quick and start it up and see. All right, I'm just gonna give it a quick start up. Now that it ran, let's check it. All right, so there you have it. Oil change is done. And FYI, it does take the full 2 quarts, so I guess just go ahead and dump that in or however you please. So we are going to move on to the fuel filter. All right, so next I'm gonna move on to the oil filter or fuel filter, which is right above the oil filter. It was resting in this little clamp, so I took that out, made it a little bit easier to get to. Pulled that hose clamp off. Now I'm gonna pull this hose clamp off. All right, so once you get your fuel filter off, which isn't the easiest, make sure you keep your gas lines kind of up, I guess, because there is still fuel in there, and you don't want a bunch of fuel spilling out everywhere. And also the part number for the fuel filter is right there if you need it for Kohler. Now, we're gonna put the new fuel filter on, and pay attention to where that arrow is pointing. The arrow needs to go towards the carburetor, I guess. So it's coming from the fuel tank going through. So, and you just kind of shove that in there. Put the hose clamp back on it. And same thing with the other side. Slide it back in. Get that hose clamp. And just like that, the fuel filter's done. You just put that back in its little holding strap. And you have a new fuel filter. Just make sure you clean up all the fuel that spilled, because you will end up spilling some. That's just how it's gonna go, but clean that up, and fuel filter's done. Now we're gonna move on to spark plugs. All right, so like I said, we're gonna move on to spark plugs. And the first one, you're gonna take this boot off the spark plug, which is right below your fuel line, which is right there. And then the same thing on the other side, right next to your coil pack. Just take that off. Get it off, fuck. Okay. And there's your spark plug. And then you're just gonna get your spark plug wrench and unscrew those, put the new ones back on. Yeah, I'd say they needed to be replaced. Pretty fucking black. Spark plug socket I am using on these is a 16 mil, in case you're wondering. There's a little comparison for you, so. Definitely needed a new one. I wish Kohler came with these, but they're Champion. Still decent, but. Then you just make sure your spark plug is definitely lined up well. You know what that's threading in? For the love of God. Screw that in, hand tight first. And then I'm gonna crank it in there. And you don't want it too tight, just enough to not shoot out. And you pop your cover back on. That's all you gotta do. Same thing with this other side. And that's spark plugs. Still probably not the easiest, because we're about to do the easiest, which is the air filter. You just pop out those two plastic pieces, pull this up, and there's your air filter, which is dirty, and we will be replacing. And the air filter, you could clean this little pre-air filter and blow this out, and I'm sure it'll be fine, but I got a new one, so might as well just use the new one. And there's the part number, in case you are wondering. Now, once you put the pre-filter on the new one, it just simply slides on in there, and that's all you gotta do. If you have any sort of air, you can kind of blow this area out because you don't want it getting dirty. Slide that back on, pop that cover back on, and you're done. So yeah, folks, that's about it for really yearly maintenance items. So, you know, I do this every spring. It's just a good habit to get into. Depending on how much you mow, you know, you maybe need to do this twice a year. But I definitely recommend at least once a year. But that covers everything from air filter to both spark plugs to the oil change, fuel filter, oil filter. There's the battery right there. So yeah, that about covers it. That's everything. Fuel filter, oil filter, and oil change, spark plugs, and air filter. Can't remember if I said that. But so that's about it. Pretty self-explanatory, not too hard. Just wanted to make a quick little video for you guys. So if you have any questions, please drop a comment, and definitely please subscribe. I'm trying to get to my first 100 subscribers, and that would help me out. So hope this video helped, and thanks for watching.